Yeah, welcome to Chilltime with Jose. I'm your host today, Jose, and well, there's no one else. It's just me, okay? Just me. Okay, I do everything here on my show for the moment. One day, I might have guests. One day, I might have a producer, like just does the sounds in the backgrounds. Actually, they're not a producer, but they're sound expert, just there to make me sound good. And that's what we're gonna do today. So first up, first story, and this one's an interesting one because ah, poor Smia. Poor Smee. I think we talked about this last week. So what happened was that Australis picked up Snappy because they needed someone. Now we get to the Australia stuff later, and then Tiger did a full 180 and told Smooya that you're not needed anymore. And I'm sitting here going like, oh boy, Smooya, and you are getting screwed over again. To be fair though, there is some reason why Smooya is getting screwed over like this, and it's always been what he's done to Big. Always what he's done to Big. He sounds a really good personal guy on the camera and stuff like that. I think he would be definitely a guy to hang around with. But a lot of people on the scene have been, criticizing him behind his back about his, maybe lack of professionalism. I know Draken has that as well, and these are rumors, of course. And now Smoothie found himself as a free agent once again. And I think Smoothie could probably make it big as a streamer himself. Like, he doesn't have to actually be on a team. I don't think maybe he's not built to play like CSGO professionally, but maybe he could be built as a streamer instead, where he just effectively streams himself like playing games and AWPing and stuff like that. And I reckon he could get a big player base that way. But anyway, so basically pretty much the plans were ditched after Urkar said, well, we don't care, we're doing really, really well now, we don't need Snappy and Smooya. And Smooya is now only entertaining offers from Europe and North American teams, and he wants to, prove himself again after Chaos ended, and apparently it didn't end that well, according to a few people in the industry and in the scene, saying that the Chaos did not end up quite well. A lot of people have pointed out, like, how do you not get a visa to NA as a British person? And, people question whether he had a sponsor or not. And, I'm not terribly too sure, given that they picked up Voltage pretty quickly as well, who quickly left due to his own reasons, as well as, Chaos picked up a few more people. I'm not entirely too sure, and most of it hasn't really been divulged at the moment. And, it's pretty disappointing to, Smoothie once again, he feels like he's got something where he can just rebuild himself, and it's just snatched away from him at the last moment. And I wish all the best to him. I think maybe he could go into streaming. I'm not too sure. Like, a lot of the pros have gone to streaming. Or maybe he might have to go to a new game. But I think, he's got that personality for streaming. He was really, really good on set with Flashpoint. And also, as well, I reckon he could become a talent if he wants to. That's the big thing. But if his backroom issues while I was in the team come on when he's a talent, then that's a different purpose altogether. But I'd assume, like, if he was very, very good, he would be easily making talent very, very easily and make a lot of people's jobs, especially casters and observers, a lot harder. And that actually reminds me of another tweet as well, but I don't want to show it because it'll get me banned off Twitch, which was made by BOQ earlier this week. But anyway, let's get up to the next news, which is Xtense. This was a long time coming, considering I casted their advanced game a while ago, and Xtense didn't look anything like special. They looked pretty bad. And I think it was, what was that team name again? It was Xtense v... Oh, I forget the other Spanish team's name. I think it was Cream, that's right, Cream Real Betis. And Cream, like, just basically killed them. And Xtense, this lineup, apparently, they came from NA, which is so confusing. Why an NA team would move to Europe, and then after seasons of poor results, don't immediately move back, which is so confusing for an org to move their team to Europe. And basically what happens is that they have to grind from open to get into advanced again. And this team was an MDL team in NA, which makes it even more confusing. Like, you might as well stay in NA, be MDL, and try to make a tilt at the ESL NA Pro League scene. But obviously, it pretty much backfired. A lot of the players are back. They got moved over to EU. A lot of the guys coming out the NA scene, like Miami Flamingos, for example, they're an old team in the MDL scene. I think it's before I started casting. And there's Johnny Boy, Nikom's an AWPer, and basically the team will disband. So basically, Johnny Boy, Nikom was definitely a very, very decent AWPer as well. It's gonna, this little experiment's gonna be over for Xtense, and I think a lot of these guys are gonna go back over to South America or North America. And I'm not sure if the way they just went into that scene, I just think it's a bit of a mistake for a lot of the NA teams to go, okay, let's have a tilt at the EU scene. You know, without I just don't understand it. I just really don't understand why an NA team who's already in the MDL would want to go spend at least 2 to 3 seasons trying to break into EU scene, to EU Advanced, which is a lot harder, mind you, a lot harder because EU Advanced is very competitive, and unlike NA MDL, which kind of isn't at the moment, given that a lot of their scene is going over to Valorant at the moment. And talking about that, I think our next story highlights that. So another player has gone over from the NA scene to Valorant. To be fair though, it's a player who's not played in a while since he's played in Rogue, and that is Hiko. So Hiko is going to join the 100 Thieves Valorant roster. And, kind of obvious that 100 Thieves would put a team in for this game. They don't know what Riot will do. Maybe they can buy a summer split spot if, Riot do run esports. And, so Hiko's joined Valorant, and he goes, retired from CSGO. He's been in Liquid, Cloud9, Optic, and Rogue. But the last time he was in Rogue, and that was such a long time ago. I think it was like was it season? I'm not sure what season it was. But, it's been such a long time ago since he was in competitive CS, to be completely honest. So yeah, so pretty much Hiko was in Check 6, blah blah blah, goes on, then he goes, joined Rogue. And I think the last time he was in something was probably last year in May. And, everyone's acting like, Hiko moving over. Actually, some people acting like, it's a big end of the world. And it's like, dude, man, it's just another NA player that hasn't really been in the CSGO scene for a long time. Okay? People like acting like, there's gonna be no NA scene to pick talent from. It's like, dude, there's always going to be scenes to pick NA talent from, okay? There's always going to be people who want to play CSGO rather than Valorant, okay? That's the big thing that people have got to realize, is that people like both games. Like, people are allowed to like both games and go pro in one and don't go pro in the other. Hiko's washed up, yeah, or that's what I said, Hiko hasn't been in the pro scene for a year. Like, let's just be completely honest. He hasn't been in the pro scene for a year, and, if you haven't been in the pro scene for a year, you're a bit behind, the Strasses, the EU teams, and, the NA teams. You're a bit behind the 8 ball there. So, it's that point in time that you go try a different thing. You go try a different FPS, and it's just like, well, more than a year. He became a free agent in May 2019, so that's him going out of the pro scene. So I'm just using that as a day, but it's just like, it's not a big thing. I don't think many people are treating it as a big thing either, fortunately. And I just, as I twiddle my thumbs, a lot of these players are going over the NA scene, are going over to the Valorant scene. And, some people got a point that, a lot of these players have a lot of wisdom to pass on to the younger generation about FPSs, and that they may miss out on that. But, you'll see what you can do. You see what you can do. Because, basically, there's a lot of talent pool in the CSGO region, especially for NA, that they could probably draw on as well. Probably a lot of coaches as well. And some of these players that are going off to Valorant now are probably going to come back to CSGO. Okay, we've already had one already. We've had we've had 2 or 1. We've had 1 with Leaf coming back, and I think we had a second as well. But I'm trying to think who it was. Like we've had a second player come back from Valorant. Okay, and Leaf was trying to be targeted by Cloud9, I believe. And I'm trying to find the second player. I think it was John G who's being targeted, but I'm trying to figure out the second person who's came back. And yeah, a few players have come back from Valorant. Well, Valorant's actually getting a bit of criticism now, as well as with some of the heroes being too OP and the maps being basically generic. And it's just, yeah. We talk about Valorant getting wrecked in the Metascore. I don't really want to talk about that, considering people like bomb reviews to make it look bad, so people can talk about it. Like, people talk about the review being bad. So I don't want to talk about its Metacritic score yet, given that everyone's probably shitting on it. And I think Richard Lewis pointed it out, that someone put, wow, what such a valid review, that sort of thing. It's just like, it's normal for a new release game for people to be playing it for like 4 to 6 hours and rage quit and give it a fucking shit review. So, I don't put any salt into, like, the rage quitter's point of view. And I'll wait till like 2 weeks later to see what the Metacritic score is going to be. The main complaints I've seen so far is that the levels are pretty much all the same, except different texture. And hitboxes have been fixed. It's just some of the agents are overpowered. Like, some of the agents can be really, really overpowered abilities, and other abilities are just absolute trash. And they're not. It's just it just seems to be like a more casual, friendly sort of game. And also, like, a lot of the Fortnite players are still able to dome people while running and gunning, and it's not really a high skill ceiling of a game, as people have been saying. But Hiko's moved over. Hiko's brand new game, brand new organization, brand new team, brand new me. Very sure, Hiko, I'm going to say, is that you're trying Valorant out and you seeing if you can make a name for yourself there. Good idea. Give you wholeheartedly, give my whole heart, good luck for that. I know 100% what you're doing. I'll do probably the same thing too. If you haven't been in the CSGO scene for like a year or so, why not? Why not try your best? Why not go out there and go for Valorant? See if you can get to a pro team. See if you can get a salary at least. It's pretty hard as a 30-year-old to get a salary. I mean, Virtus Pro were having a hard time. In fact, Angel was having a really hard time getting into a team, despite absolutely fragging out towards the second half of the season for Hellraisers. G'day, Fox. And, well, definitely good on Hiko. Now, let's talk about the Blast Europe Showdown. So what's happened is that Saw and Virtus Pro have been eliminated, and I saw Saw getting eliminated. Why not steal checks? Can't blame him. Oh, dude, why not? You get a free lunch. Take it. I know the steal checks kind of thing is, people who do no work can get it, but hey, free lunch. Take it. Money for jam, okay? Like, if the orgs are going to pay the big bucks for you to sit on their team and just frag for a year or so, why not fucking take it? It's their fucking loss. They shouldn't be fucking spending money on people. They should know better, in my opinion. And this was actually talked about. I actually got to talk about it later. It was an off comment by Richard Lewis, okay? And Foreign. I think it was either Foreign or Richard that said, because this is why I follow like Richard, Decay, and a few others on Twitter, because they raise some really fucking good points. Is that half the player managers are good at their job, but don't know the scene at all, and the other half know the scene, but they're shit at their jobs, okay? And that's gonna be true, because you gotta know, like, some of the teams where they come out with these random fucking ass picks, and you're sitting going like, why would you just pick this player up? And then you get, let's just say Vitality, for example, where they pick up Scream's brother and he's a fucking prodigy, okay? No one fucking ever saw him coming, but Vitality knew he was there. There's teams like that where let's just get a cat out of the bag, okay? Astralis, okay? With the recent 2 pickups with Yugi and Snappy, okay? Like, it's like, why are you gonna pick Yugi up? Like, Yugi's a bit of a downgrade. And then you go to Vitality, like, going, ooh, Misuda? Who's this? Oh, Scream's brother? Oh, is it God? How did you guys know? That sort of thing. Like, it's like how they scout these opportunities out. And that's what, to highlight that point, is that there are guys who are good at their job and just don't know the scene, being Astralis, maybe. And, we don't know, we can't speculate, obviously. And people who know the scene and not good at a job, potentially Vitality. That guy may not be good at his job, but fuck, he knows where to see talent when he sees it. And that's a big thing in the CSGO scene. This is why Australia seems to be faltering at the moment, is that their talent scout doesn't know the scene. That's all I'm going to say. Does not know the scene, it seems, or they're just panicking. Because I don't know why would you pick up Yugi. I can understand Snappy for Glaive, given that you're going for an IGL for an IGL. But Zipnik for Yugi? Oh man, there's so many better Danish talent out there that you could pick up. You can just go to, I'm going to say this, you can just go to goddamn Copenhagen Flames, Singularity, literally anywhere in those Danish teams that are in the Mount Dew League, and just pick up a random rifler, and they would probably be more servable than Yugi, okay? Let's be honest, okay? Yugi hasn't been in the pro scene for quite a while. He's been on quite a downturn. He's still on a downturn. I'm not sure, why he is. It's easy to criticize from my position because I don't do CSGO Pro. But it's just, he's shown that he's just not good enough at the moment. He could be good in the future, but it's just showing that he's not up to tier 1 CS. That's simply put. There's a reason why he's been dropping off for a lot of teams, because he isn't tier 1. And Australia's pick him up immediately when there's so many other riflers in Denmark that they could pick up and pick up his role. Let's just go for example, North. You can just pick up any of the players off North. The former Optic lineup. Oh wait, they're already gone. It's just there's so many other Danish teams out there. Especially look at for example, look at AGF, look at Ambush, Look at Copenhagen Flames, Singularity. There's 4 Danish teams with a lot of rifles in there that you can pick up. And you pick them up for probably next to nothing, like Cell Rate, for example. They could have gone after Cell Rate, you know, one of the best riflers on Singularity. They could have gone for Nodius from Copenhagen Flames, and it probably would have been an upgrade. And they could have gone after Tezes as well. Like, you guys got to remember that Tezes was a free agent before he was picked up by Heroic. You know, that sort of thing. It's just like, come on, guys. Come on, guys. But anyways, let's get back to this story. You guys, I'm gonna say, you guys do agree with me on that. Do you guys understand what I'm talking about, you know, basically knowing the scene and not knowing the scene? Like I would basically, if I was Astralis, I'd be like, okay, Danish riflers, okay, don't pick up Yugi. If you want a secondary, or pick up Farlig from Copenhagen Flames, because he's gonna be your future. If you want a rifle against Cell Rate, Queenix, look at him. I'm trying to figure out who else to look at. Tezes, definitely. Nodios, definitely look at him, because Nodios is a very, very good rifler as well. And I'm trying to think, there's another rifle on the Flames that's quite good as well, but I can't think of it at the time. But yeah, you know, there's a lot of players out there you can easily pick up. It's just like, I don't know why Yugi was the one they picked up. But anyway. So Saw and Virtus Pro were eliminated. Saw was pretty obvious. Like, Saw, like, are completely outmatched. Even when Astralis is, you know, going down as it seems to be at the moment with, you know, basically a whimper, they're not going to get eliminated by Saw. Saw actually did win a game, but they were still eliminated anyway, which I'm shocked that they even won a BO1. Now, there's been a lot of criticism about Blast allowing ties, and I don't like that either. Like, I agree with that too. I don't like allowing ties in tournaments. I think it's just kind of like the EPL, you know, when you go like, oh man, it's just another tie, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's just, you know, everyone gets points split. That's why they introduced the extra point. Yeah, Yugi, that's what they said. Australia said Yugi was cheap to get. And it's just like, you're a tier 1 team. You can't be going cheap to get, I guess. Even though they'll probably replace him with Hashtag when Hashtag's out of contract in July. And Heroic aren't going to, you know, quicken that one up, given that, you know, Stralis basically scuttled their entire deal with Fire plus Phoenix. So I don't think Heroic could be like, we just wait out his contract, you know. Like, they won't be playing nice with Astralis after that one. Like, you know, they probably cost Heroic a whole bunch of money by doing that. And now Heroic have a CSGO team, and Heroic probably going to use that money to probably buy another CSGO team, probably. So, what else? So yeah, Virtus Pro was a bit of a surprise as well, since they picked up Yakinda, obviously being a massive upgrade. Placeholder till players come back to rest. Yeah, but the thing is, like, they just withdrew from Road to Rio, the second tournament. So I'm not sure they're coming back out of rest anytime soon. So here we go. So basically what happened was that Virtus Pro was eliminated. Surprised that they didn't eliminate Dignitas, as you see here. There's James, Yakinda, Kika, Adrian, and Sanji. Apparently Nickelback filled in for Virtus Pro as well, which is quite interesting. And Saw were eliminated. Saw actually won a game. Astralis, they beat Saw pretty easily. And I'm going to say for Astralis, they're lucky that Saw didn't get any points other than their only win throughout the tournament, because they would have been eliminated. And it would have been quite an article with Astralis being eliminated. So basically Astralis will be in the playoffs, pretty low position. Nip top the group with Ents, which is another big surprise, as well as Ents. Like, Ents beat Astralis too. And that's going to show where, like, Astralis are at the moment, when teams like Ents, and I think Astralis beat Sword. That's the only team they beat. And, like, there's a lot of teams in here that Astralis lost to, and they're, like, tier 1 teams. It's just like, what do you expect for the next major? You guys can get absolutely slaughtered if you don't have your players back. So on the other end, Mad Lions, completely expected. Then Fnatic, then somehow Mouse limped in. I've got to say, Mouse haven't been playing really well either. And lastly, Dignitas. So you can see here, there's the quarterfinals. And here we go to the upper bracket, potential upper bracket finals as well. So actually, this is another lower bracket. So, oh no, it's the upper bracket final. So they'll be versing Ents and Fnatic. And then basically, whoever wins that will be here as well. And there'll be a third place decider. So basically, Mad Lions and Nip will probably, like, you know, they'll probably advance, in my opinion. Like, you know, they will probably advance. Anyways, and some people are already making fun of Astralis with 2 to ground. Oof. I doubt there'll be a live major this year. Yeah, me too. But, you know, I think, if Astralis don't really shape up, they're going to get swept aside. So next up we're going to do is, well, Blast Americas. There's 100 Thieves are eliminated. And I got to tell you now, 100 Thieves have been playing like absolute fucking ass, okay? Like, I'm just going to be real with you. And Chaos was kind of expected, given that Chaos was kind of in the, well, I won't say group of death, but they were pretty much in a really, really bad group where, like, it was going to be really, really tough to come out from. So basically, 100 Thieves was eliminated by Cloud9. Like, if 100 Thieves beat Cloud9, they would have eliminated Cloud9 instead. I'm going to give it to Triumph, though. Triumph, absolutely, as I said before, like, you can't sleep on Triumph. Triumph are a very, very good team. And they are in second place. Evil Geniuses won the division. Furia won their Group A. And basically, it's pretty much, Gen G v Triumph. And I think Triumph could win that. And it'll be MRBR v Cloud9. And then basically, Furia v the winner of Triumph and Gen G. And also, Evil Geniuses takes on the MRBR and Cloud9 winner. And this will happen this weekend. And I don't know why this guy says EG is so lucky. I'm going to say of EG's group's probably one of the harder ones, okay? Like, Furia, like, I probably would have picked, like, if you want to put your team somewhere, I probably would have picked the Furia, MIBR, Gen G, and Chaos group, because a lot of these teams are coming off, like, massive slumps. So rather that than play against a team that's, all ready to go. Anyways, guys, we got a DK article, and this was released last time halfway through my schedule. And we got Decay here. So Astralis announced, they got hashtag, and, marked a new beginning, blah, blah, blah. But it didn't end up hashtag either. Basically, they wanted more players, and they're trying to go for the AGO method. Then they put up Yugi, and it didn't come as a surprise as Glaive was stepping down, apparently. And yeah, now Zipnix is stepping down less than 2 weeks after Glaive was a surprise to everyone, including Astralis' management. Well, I do not believe he'd be dishonest by step down. Other knowledge sources aren't so sure burnout is the only reason. 2 5-man teams. Yeah, I know. I don't think they're going to do that, though. Like, dude, can you imagine, like, paying 5 players, like, 10 players? You're going to double your wage expenses. A couple of sources in particular mentioned that players originally pitched for a time away from the game a couple of months ago as a group, but the idea was disallowed by the organisation. The decision was somehow prompted Glaive and Zipnix to decide to take matters into their own hands so they could get time away from the game. Choosing to sit out now while all the matches are played online would allow them to return to play well before travel resumes. Over the past month, it's clear that the truth likely somewhere lies between each extreme. Perhaps the crossing guard innovation that brought Astralis 3 straight majors simply wore off on 2 veterans. They could return in a few months to pick up where they lost off of the depressive 2019. What if, though, there's something cooking behind the scenes which result these players joining another organisation by the time we get to 2021? Only can't really tell what's going behind closed doors in Denmark, but, apparently, like, people were expecting Astralis to break apart, and then some people saying, oh, they're actually legitimately taking a break. And I'm just sitting there going, like, we'll just see when it happens, okay? We'll just see when it actually happens, because I hate it so much when people, like, speculate on things at times, like, heavily speculate, when there's been probably, like, no meaning for it. It's just sitting there being like, guys, they haven't actually said anything. You guys are assuming it and then building a story around it. Which is, yeah. Probably not a good idea to do, okay? With Astralis, I'm just going to say, well, we're going to assume that it's actual burnout before saying anything else, okay? We're just going to go err on the side of caution and say these 2 players are actually burnt out. So next up, we got Fur. He's being fined for some over-racially charged stream comments. He made a very interesting comment. It was a more of an implication of what a word means, because he was trying to say someone had bad hair, and that connotation is racist. So that's what he was trying to say, and that's, not good. He got fined by MRBR for it. I won't go down any further because it has the remark and has what it means in it. And now last one, we got Big Frame suspend. So another NA team has disbanded, but I don't think it's for Valorant, I believe. I don't think they've gone to Valorant. There's actually been a few MDL teams in general, as we see here in the Dust 2 article, is that some players have gone to Valorant. For example, Way to French have gone to Valorant instead of competing in the MDL. So, one of the MDL teams dying again, not a top MDL team, but, close there due to Valorant. And I think Valorant's really, really making headways in the NA scene and killing a lot of teams there as well. A lot of teams that don't have an org behind it, That's probably the main thing that's, that Valorant is doing well. Is they're killing a lot of teams that don't have orgs behind it. And yeah, that's it for that article. Next up, we're going to talk about the tournaments because, trust me, there's a lot of fucking tournaments on. So we're going to talk about the AUMDL. So currently at the moment, the AUMDL, that's the current ladder. Actually, no, that's not the current ladder. That's season 33. That's the wrong season. Here's the current ladder. So as we got all the teams here, Mako with their new logo. As you see here, Mako with the new logo. Actually, it was Wolfie on their previous team, not Zuko. Who was Zuko one then? Oh, I'm not sure who Zuko was on. I think Zuko was on Forbidden. Yeah, he was. But yeah, So here we go. So look at the ladder here. So Order at top. And I'm going to say now Order probably got, that top seed secured. Like, Order have to win, I think it's 3 out of the next 5 games. And they're versing teams that are nowhere near them. Like, the funny thing about Order is that Order have versed Order teams that are within their reach, okay? Other than, I think it's Chiefs. Order have not versed Chiefs. But everyone else in their reach, Order have played, okay? So that Order and Chiefs game will matter a lot, given that Chiefs are currently on 8-1. And if Chiefs lose the game, well, basically Avant have secured number 1 seed. Now we got Avant and Chiefs as well. Avant, Chiefs, Rooster, Ground Zero, Truckers, Mako, Bants, Overt, Control, Skyfire, and Justice. Now you got, as I said before, Forbidden and Paradox are in a bit of a puddle at the moment. Same with Incept and the 419, who are in that relegation zone. They'll drop down to the relegation. And it's going to be a big battle for, let's just say, these positions here. Basically, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Not excluding Chiefs, of course. It's going to be a big battle for 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and maybe 11th as well. As this starts to heat up, as a lot of teams are on 4 or 5 losses here. They're on 4 or 5 losses. And the tiebreaks are going to start to matter very, very quickly as well between these teams on who's won and who's lost. Especially the map differences as well down here. And Forbidden, they have a really, really bad loss difference. And they could be in a lot of trouble. So with the 419 as well for the relegation side. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go to the games for the last week. And there was actually very few games last week. The main reason for that was basically what happened was yesterday the servers had a bit of a gong show. And a lot of the games had rescheduled. So we had the Sunday games with Chiefs winning both games against Bants and the 419. And then, I think it was on Monday, Mako took down Control. Or was that the Sunday game? I'm not terribly too sure. Then we had Order taking down Overt. Then Rooster taking down Forbidden. Mako in an epic game taking down Overt. And that was an amazing game with Jimmy getting about 45 kills, something like that. It was like insane as Jimmy just basically jimmied the entire scene and won the game for Mako. And it was absolutely astounding and crazy game to be a part of. And oh my god, that's probably one of my favorite games I've casted in such a long time. Next up, we got the EU MDL. The EU MDL, nothing's been sold yet. If you guys haven't known, is that Spirit have withdrawn from the league. Just in case you guys are wondering, Spirit have withdrawn from New Mountain Dew League. That's one of the big news. They haven't announced it yet, but I think they're withdrawing it to go to the Global Challenge, which they're allowed to do. So at the moment, Namiga on the top, well deserved as well. Impact is at second, then Alternative Attacks and Hellraisers. And there's a lot of few teams in relegation that are in a lot of trouble, especially Prosto, for example. Prosto in a lot of trouble at the moment. Gamer Legion, they'll get a new team together shortly. And men's, they're in a lot of trouble as well. Demolition Crew, as you guys may have known that David P has gone to play Valorant. And if you guys didn't see that, Kirishima got really pissed off that David P not only took the heretic spot, but then 2 seasons later basically quits the game. And it's just like, it wasn't really worth it, bro. Was it really worth it? That sort of thing. It's like, why would you do that to a team and, you quit CSGO like 2 seasons later? And lastly, the Riders, they've been really up and down. Really, really up and down. I can't wait for the new Sony XM4000. Switching device is such a pain in the ass. What do you mean by that? As in switching computers, like you gotta wait, or... But either way, the Moonstar Riders in a bit of, they're struggling big time. I'm actually really concerned for these 3 teams here. They're definitely good enough to stay in MDL. But at the moment, they're playing like they're not even, they're not even MDL quality, which is kind of sad. Except for Gamer Legion somewhat. They are trying, and they did have a scuff lineup. But Prosto and Moonstar Riders, I'd say Prosto's been competitive in a lot of their games. But the Riders, man, have been really up and down. Really up and down. It's the only win coming against Prosto. And I just hope, that Prosto and the Riders, basically chime up, get out of these relegation holes, and at least, stay in the MDL or not have to play some BO3s after the season's over. Because if they do, I reckon it's going to be worse for them because, you guys, all you had to do was win a few BO1s and you wouldn't be playing a lot of BO3s. Well, I went from my phone to my PC and I had to power off my phone to connect these headsets to the PC. Okay, yeah, I can understand what you mean. Definitely. So here we go. We got week 6 of matches. We have Ultimate Attacks basically dismantling the Riders. Singularity on Overpass. Figures on Mirage actually dismantling the Prosto. It was actually questioned a lot by people in my chat when I was casting that game on why Prosto picked Mirage. The Riders took down Prosto on Vertigo, and Pac took down Endpoint. And Nordovan took down Prosto. It was a very, very... That game was very, very scrappy, given that Nordovan were in the lead quite a bit, and then Prosto made a big charge, and then Nordovan ended it pretty quickly. They won 5 rounds in a row. Whew. But that game overall, I'm going to say now, that game overall was really concerning because it was a very, very scrappy affair. Especially the Prosto movie star, Prosto Nordovan, was a very scrappy affair. And sometimes, you got glimpses of brilliance from both teams. But that game was very, very scrappy. Then you got Prosto for Unicorns of Love, and that's just another nail in the coffin for Prosto. Unicorns of Love, who was struggling last season to beat any team, able to beat Prosto 16-14. Now, also Singularity took down the Riders as well. And that just really, really, really drills that point in for the Riders. Didn't you also work today? Yeah, I was at work today. But I was fine. I'm yawning at the moment because I'm thinking about yawning. And I'm like, just don't think about it. Because if you think about it, you're going to yawn, okay? Now, lastly, it was Skade v Hellraisers. And that game, Skade, man, I felt like they were trying to counter-strat Hellraisers. But they didn't realize that Hellraisers weren't playing that strat anymore in Dust 2. Because there was so many times where Skade were trying to, rush long and rush middle and rush short, trying to catch Hellraisers off guard, and it never worked out. And they were just literally walking into crossfires over and over and over again. And it's just guys, you can get hit by the rake enough times to stop doing the strategies. And it seems like they were planning for something that wasn't there, that Hellraisers weren't actually doing, and Hellraisers were adjusting and defeating them like that. So next up we got the NA scene. So there's already been 2 teams that are dead, which is Raid to French and Big Frames, which means, not many teams will be relegated in the NA scene. So you can see here. There's also a lot of pug teams as well as Infinity Esports, Big Daddy's PayPal, Keep the Comms Up, Blood, Sweat and Tears, Alcoholics Anonymous, Under 21 and Swedish Canadians. A lot of pug teams in there, but I know Under 21s are trying to look for an org, and same with Swedish Canadians. But there's a lot of pug teams, as the Prominent put it, that are coming in here and just farming hubs and just holding an MDL slot, that sort of thing. A lot of people are concerned about. So recently in week 6, there's been a lot of matches, other than of course Big Frames pulling out. Mythic somehow, defeating the Warriors. Mythic are now top 4, which Flom has no idea how they're top 4, but he's going to say, yep, we're top 4 team. And pretty much Recon 5 been very, very dominant as well. 16-6, 16-6, and a 16-3 against Polarace. And I think Recon 5 might be one of the teams to look out for that might potentially win the Mountain Dew League as well. Because at the moment, they're looking really, 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 really sharp. And they're probably one of the few teams that can probably take down Chaos, I'm going to say. And they probably will give a good BO3 to Chaos as well. And I think on the ladder, I do have the ladder here, is that Recon 5 is currently 3rd at the moment, and the New England Whalers are 12-1 as well. New England Whalers are playing exceptionally well, and I think those 3 are going to be very, very competitive. Now I know a few people have weighed in about the NA scene. I think it was Emo has weighed in about the NA scene, given that he works for Immortals now because he doesn't work as a caster anymore. He said that the NA scene used to be the top 6 just battle it out. Now there's barely even a top 6 to battle it out, and I've got to say he's right in a way. He's he said NA wouldn't recover from the talent loss. I got to, basically say, nah, it probably will. It probably will recover from the talent loss. Some of the players will come back. And, I think he's a bit, I'm not sure. I still think he's still involved with the scene and stuff like that. But I think he just might be missing it. We just don't know what could happen, Every NA pro, that wants to go pro now, has less people to really compete with, and that could be a good thing. that they can that teams will actually gamble on training the younger players up, and that's why I think Emo could be wrong here. Is that there's players out there that haven't really been given a chance, because what happened in the NA scene quite a lot is that the old pros kept getting recycled over and over again by these NA teams. Like, I saw it happen in the ESL Pro League. I even I also saw it with Emo's friend as well, which I'm not mentioning on stream, where they were being recycled over and over again, the ESL Pro League teams, where these guys were clearly not working. And I think some player actually pointed it, one of the analysis called it out, saying that you guys aren't, like, the NA teams are just recruiting players to basically band-aid, hoping they'd be good enough, when they've been proven in other teams that they're not good enough for ESL Pro League. But you're going to try them again and again and again and not give a chance to young talent and expect to have some sort of success. That's what one of the NA analysis said. I think it was that season 31 MDL, 30 MDL, where they just said they're just trying the same old crap, where they just get up a veteran player. Let's just say, for example, one that didn't work out. Let's just say Hiko, for example. Like, they keep trying Hiko, even though he was pretty good in Rogue, of course. They keep, let's just say Hiko, for example, he wasn't playing well in ESL Pro League, and then he goes to an MDL team that's been kicked off. The next time that ESL Pro League team in NA needs a new player, they're like, oh, we'll pick up Hiko instead. Hiko's got experience. And it's just like, there's like all these younger players that, probably have better aim, might be better tactics. I'm not terribly too sure than Hiko, but Hiko gets picked because he has the experience. This is not singling out Hiko, but it's just giving an example of what the NA scene did constantly, because I saw this happen constantly, because I'm trying to think of the player's name that always kept being recruited and always kept getting kicked because of his attitude. And it's just like, he went between like 3 to 4 different teams, and the same thing kept happening, okay? Like, the same thing kept happening over and over and over again. And, that may have helped, that's what's got to be different now, is that those pros that people go, okay, we'll pick up this guy instead, or we'll pick up this guy instead, that won't happen anymore. That won't be it. It'll be like, we'll have to try the new guys. We've got none of the ex-pros left. Also, as well, with the NA scene as well, good to see that Davey's back in Mythic. Davey coming back to competitive play, just in case you guys didn't know that. Davey was standing in for, I think it was, forget his name, ZNF, I believe. I think ZNF had to take a break, and Davey is in that role now as well. So it's good to see that Davey's back in the CSGO scene as well. I think he retired a bit too early from the professional CSGO scene, to be honest, because I only realized just recently that he's in his early 20s, okay? He's like 23, 24, and I'm like going, the fuck is he doing retiring? Like, I was actually a bit shocked that he retired. I'm like, oh man, like, dude, you got about 3 to 4 years at least in you, man. But, sometimes people are just like, fuck it, I just can't be fucked grinding 20 years a fucking day to hopefully get some bigger money in the future. I can understand that, especially when Davey was able to get onto an analyst desk for ESL. You can be on a talent and get paid lots of money. You don't have to grind nonstop. You can just sit there and watch games, and you have to obviously observe and watch the game as well. I'm not saying here that Davey like sits here like this and doesn't fucking do anything. Like, some people said that he doesn't, when he casts game, he doesn't actually cast them. Like, dude, he's watching the game. He's watching how, teams set up and stuff like that. He doesn't say much because he's just watching the play and watching what the players are potentially thinking and the information they are operating on. There are people who can talk a lot of game like me, where I can talk a whole bunch of shit that I may not understand, but I give the impression that I understand it when I sometimes maybe don't understand it. But Dave is not like that. Dave is a different sort of person that will be silent, because generally the smarter people, I'm going to say now these days, are going to be the silent ones. The guys who just nod, be silent, listen to both approaches, that's it. Have you ever noticed that? That the people who are being silent now will probably speak up a bit later, and they'll probably have like the perfect solution to this craziness that's going on in the world. Like, they'll probably have real good solutions about what's going on, rather than the loud people. I just realized my phrase just dropped. Rather than the loud people who are just fucking like banging horns, burning down buildings and stuff like that. They're too emotionally charged. They can't see the other side. And that's what Davey shows quite a bit, is that he's just a person that's silent, very nice, very personal to be with, but he comes out with some fucking epic points and epic, things that you've got to watch out for as well, and like things that he noticed. Anyways, that's gonna be it for the NA scene. So I'm going to go for Home Sweet Home. And the main reason why I got to do this is because for my fellow Danish viewer, I'm not sure if she's in today. No, she's... Yeah, because that's right. Because there is some Danish CSGO action on today. But, oh man, she really loves Heroic. Like, she really, really loves Heroic. And Sponge, okay? Good old Sponge. He just has to he has to go for the caster curse on the Danish team. Okay, if you guys didn't know, Heroic had won its last 10 BO3s up until this point, okay? They beat Forze 2-0. And Sponge was like, oh, good to see that. Heroic have not lost a best of 3. They've won 10 in a row. And they're versing Complexity, okay? And I'm like, to my lovely Danish lady, I was like, well, actually, not my lady, actually, I'm not with her, but my Jesus Christ, I'm in such a fucking hole already. Okay, the Danish lady I know, basically I was like, good luck, hopefully you can win a Home Sweet Home, you're versing Complexity, should be a big battle, hopefully they can win it. And they lose 2-0, okay? And I don't think it was even a good 2-0, it was a really, oh no, it was actually really close 2-0, but it's just like, because I really wanted Heroic to win something, because then she would be really happy, because she feels like she can be a jinx at times. Like, yeah, just a little bit of jinx. Every time she supports the team, they lose, okay? Even though I told her, like, it's not you, okay? It's not you. It's not you. Sometimes it is the team. But, you know, I was hoping that Heroic could win this. The big shock was Nordavind, as you guys see here. Nordavind out of Home Sweet Home. We're now 0-2, okay? With a bracket like this, like, I can understand High Legion and Team Secret, you guys losing to. But HEF, who are an advanced team, that's a bit of a concern, Nordavind. That's all I'm gonna say. Bit of a concern. But anyway, so basically, Heroic beat Hard Legion, beat Forze, and lost to Complexity. You know, other things as well is that Team Secret once again, top of the group, and they lose. Not good. Now we go to the home. Oh no, that's a bit too early. This is the next one. It's gonna go to Blast. I'm like, hang on, Blast. We're not even at Blast yet. So for Home Sweet Home this week, I actually do enjoy the Home Sweet Home tournament. Like, the main reason why I enjoy it a lot is because, you know, it's got a lot of the tier 2 teams and probably the up-and-coming teams as well. It's also good to see that the Budapest 5 are back as well. Because I've been wondering where the Budapest 5 have been. Because I do like the Budapest 5, because I remember them from, I think it was the DreamHack qualifiers, when they were just, they versed a team that was, at that time, full of had 3 alleged cheaters in it, okay? And what happened was, later on, ESA did ban them for cheating, and basically Budapest 5 basically forfeited their game against this team because they were saying that these guys were basically cheating, like they were map hacking. And there were some really sus clips going around, like one of them was one of the guys doing a running AK one-tap to a player at Top of Banana on Inferno, which was a bit sus, okay? And there's a few things like that, and in the end, I think ECA went through one of my VODs, they went through another person's VODs who was also casting the game, and they were just like, yeah, I think something might be wrong here, and banned the entire team, which was probably a long time coming, to be honest. And they actually got all up in my face for saying that they cheated as well, just in case you guys were wondering, because I said, it's like, one of them was a, I'll tell you now, like, Noobage, one of them was a wall, you know, on Train, you know, outside T-Con, you know, on the right side, because they were versing Dennis in Game of Legion. And Rusty was getting close because he knew, like, they knew both players were in T-Con. There was a 2v5. And the Orpa, who's apparently Iranian superstar, literally flicks over to where Rusty is. Rusty is sneaking up, you know, going for T-Con. He's not even making any movement. Wall bangs him headshots as a quick 90-degree flick. And it wasn't, you know, close range. It was, like, to the edge. And headshotted Rusty with the wall bang. I'm like going, wow, that's like really unlucky. And they were trying to say that was like, that sounded legit. I'm like, going, dude, that sounds a bit sus. Like, he made no noise. You didn't even know he was there. Like, there was no bullets coming from that direction. Like, that's why, like, you know, people were thinking he was really suspect. But anyway, that's enough. As I said, they got banned in the end. And, yeah, so that's how I know Budapest 5. And it's good to see that they're in the roster here. So also, Fate once again came through to close qualifiers, and Fate, you know, I'm not sure why they haven't been invited yet, to be completely honest, to these events, because they constantly qualify the closed qualifiers, and do pretty decent as well. So you guys see here, Budapest 5 qualifies 2-0. I have no idea how they qualified 2-0, given that complexity. and Nordivan once again fail to even win a match at BO3. Smash and Contact Gaming, about time Contact Gaming came to the fray. Hard Legion 0-2. OG and Forze go through. The Flames, go out. And at the moment, it's, Endpoint, Young, Sis, Harvu, and North. And I'm going to say, this group is pretty stacked. Like, compared to, like, the other group, like, OG's group and Budapest 5's group, Group D is pretty stacked. We got some pretty decent teams in there. Now, next up, we're going to be talking about Blast, which is not that one. But we're going to talk about Blast. That Blast, the showdown, it finished. It has a lot of guys in here. And I'm going to tell you a funny story because Prius is in here as well. As you guys may have seen, you guys saw BOQ's tweet, right? About certain things with BOQ, about them playing Valorant. I think it was Sapphire, BOQ, and Prius. And there was these guys, I'm not sure if it was Tav and Nav or something like that, their names rhymed, and they I'm just going to tell you now that it was really, really stupid because they were trash talking BOQ, Sapphire, and Prius about being shit and how they've won more money than them and stuff like that, and that they were going to be better. And I was sitting there going you guys do know that these guys work as talent, right? Like, they probably earn more money than you. They probably, have earned more money being a talent than you have won, okay? So these guys had won $90, and BOQ decided to call them out because they're using racial slurs and sexist slurs, and they're literally harassing Sapphire non-stop, okay? So what happened is they lost to them in Valorant 13-8, and just as they won 13-8 on Valorant, BOQ says, oh yeah, by the way, guys, you just lost to a bunch of casters and observers of CSGO, and you guys call yourselves professionals? Just basically said that. Just basically roasted them about losing to a bunch of casters and observers. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much exactly what they deserve, and they call themselves pros. And I was just laughing my ass off. I was just being sitting there like, dude, man, like, how did the penny not drop when they lost to a bunch of casters and observers, okay? But anyway, so Blast was pretty decent with the EU side. So this is the biggest, I think I actually did this last week, actually. No, I haven't, actually. Nip qualified top, then Ents. That's the big surprise of Ents. I think I've already done this already. But, I have done this already. But, the ties, I don't particularly like it at all. But, yeah, I think I've already done this already. And, as you can see here, I actually did the wrong thing. It was actually meant to be this one. So, I did not know Frankie was hosting. But that's good. So, we got Gamers Without Borders. So, just in case you guys are wondering, is that they had a big tournament for, COVID-19, and that the winner would pick their charity that they wanted to donate to. So a lot of the teams had UNICEF, others had Direct Relief, and a few other things like that. So they had Frankie, Sponge, Anders, and Moses, and Henry G, all as the casters. It's a weekend tournament. The winner, would donate the money to a certain charity, with $750,000 going to UNICEF, $500,000 going to ITU, and the rest going to UNICEF. And I think the other ones went to UNICEF as well. I think, wow. They might as well just get given half this money to UNICEF at this point. No, I'm not going to lie, okay? I'm not going to lie. They might as well give it all to UNICEF. Given that a lot of, players suggested it. So, Gamers Without Borders was basically a test of MR13. And I think they had one in the US as well, which was testing Cache, Tucson, and Cobblestone as potential maps as well. So as you see here, basically, Na'Vi won 3-2 against Mouse, and they won the tournament, which is great. Now for the NA scene as well, basically they played Tucson and Cache, they didn't play Cobblestone at all, and basically, well, obviously UNICEF got more money than Direct Relief, as 100 Thieves took out Team Liquid. Now next up is going to be, I believe, it's going to be the DreamHack events. I believe it is DreamHack Spring North America, and we're going to talk about Spring EU and AU, because, I don't really want to focus on the Asia scene, because I don't really know it that much. And 100 Thieves topped the group once again, and they'll be taking on Furia. And the rest of the groups was, done as well, with Team Liquid taking on Gen G, MIBR taking Cloud9. And that'll probably happen sooner rather than later. And I feel like these have been done for a while, but it's Group B we were waiting on. And as I said before, I felt that Evil Genius was going to get eliminated, and they did. And Cloud9 and Gen G will be the survivors. Now, same thing with EU as well, because Group D wasn't done yet. And as I suspected last time, was that Na'Vi, Vitality, and NIP were going to advance, and that Ents were effectively in a group of death, which is exactly what happened, is that Ents were in basically a group of death, and as you see here, NIP beat Ents, therefore NIP advances. And now lastly, we've got the Oceanic qualifiers, which is Oceanic thing that's happening at the moment, And currently, lastly, Avant beat Order 2-0. That's a big win in their BO3 series, given that Avant and Order have a huge rivalry now for the top gun in the MDL. And then Renegades beat Avant 2-1. And I'm going to say good work by Avant taking a map of Renegades. Everyone's thinking Renegades is this, top tier team that can't be beaten in the AU scene. That go between 100 Thieves and, the rest of the scene. And Avant take a map off Renegades. Then, in the lower bracket, Orders took down Chiefs. And now I think on Saturday, they're going to be playing, I think it's Saturday, I believe. Yeah, Saturday they're playing Order v Avant. And I think Sunday, oh no, that's later on actually. Is it? Yeah, on Sunday, Renegades will be playing with a, one map advantage against the winner of Avant and Order. And, that's going to be pretty much it for the CSGO show today. One main concern that I do have for MDL at the moment, not MDL, sorry. What can I talk about? Because at the moment, like, I gotta tell you guys now, I got 2 sponsorships within like 3 days actually. You casting it all today? Yeah, I'm casting Skade versus Nordavind later today. And that's going to be pretty much like, hopefully Skade does wake up after what happened yesterday, because they didn't look good at all yesterday. What am I talking about? Okay. I'm trying to think, I'm trying to gather my thoughts at the moment about something. But with the AU scene, it's good to see that, we're having a DreamHack Masters in AU, which is really, really good. I'd like to see how the DreamHack Opens are going to go. Like, I want to see how they're going to go. Because basically they're going to have the same teams again. Like, DreamHack Masters and DreamHack Open are basically going to be the same teams, okay? I'm still going to put it out there, okay? Like, I'm not sure, like, how these online tournaments are going to work. Also, there's another online tournament coming out called Relog. There's a 9 to 5 kind of thing. I've asked, who do I talk to about it? And I just realized the 9 to 5 tournament starts when I'm at work, okay? And ends when I get home from work, okay? Oh, no, it ends at 11 p.m., okay? Not when I get home from work, sorry, 11 p.m. And I'm not sure, like, how the format's going to go. 9 to 5? I have no idea how it's going to go. So, yeah. Did you hear about Inno's partnership from Paradox? Yes, I just saw it just then on Twitter. Yeah, I just saw Inno's leaving. I'm thinking they might pick up Doom. I think someone's trying... Like, Doom's been looking for a team, but I think Paradox might be the place where Doom can go. Because I was thinking Truckers, then I talked to Liam about it, and Liam was like, nah, we can't have Doom on our team. And I'm like, yeah, because you, like... I gotta say that because it's all the Truckers are pretty much young players, like really, really young players. And Doom's quite, Doom has a family. Let's just put it that way. Doom has a family, okay? And I feel like at some point that Doom will feel like his job in CSGO is also daycare as well. So I can understand why he wouldn't do that. But yeah, left Paradox. And I can understand, like, some players may be leaving Paradox as well, trying to spice something up, because Paradox haven't been playing well recently. Like, let's be just brutally honest. They've not been playing well. They've been playing pretty badly, okay? And, compared to last season, of course, where they were, like, hanging around at 7th and 8th position and really upsetting teams, Paradox have been nowhere near that in Mountain Dew League. I think they're pretty good now. In MDL, they've been pretty impressive since they beat Avant 2-1. Yeah, that's been a saving grace, is that they had beaten Avant 2-1. Like, that's their saving grace. But in the MDL overall, they haven't been that impressive at the moment. And the shitty part is, and Bedonka acknowledged that as well, was that since they've lost a few games to teams that they probably shouldn't have lost games to, like losing to Overt, for example. And I'm trying to think of the other team they lost to. I think it wasn't Incept, was it? They didn't lose to Incept, they beat Incept. But they've lost a few games they really shouldn't have lost, and they may miss out MDL final spots because of it. But hey, they beat Avant 2-1, so you can't get your panties in a bunch too much. They are capable of being those top teams. It's just that's the hard part, is that the consistency. It's always been a hard part in many teams. Like, it's not unique to Paradox. I'm not saying the Paradox players are bad or anything like that. I'm just saying their performances haven't been well. Like, I'm not saying they're bad. Like, they can beat Avant 2-1. But, the other times in the BO1s, they haven't, shown that level where they can beat teams like that. And they're in a bit of trouble there. And I hope all the best for them as well. I felt pretty bad for Bedonka because they had to forfeit to Mako. And if you guys are unaware of how important that forfeit is, that's the third team that Paradox will not have the head-to-head tiebreak against, who are vying for 8th and 7th, basically. And I'm going to say now, for Paradox, they need every tiebreak they can get at this stage, from what I heard, that game is being reverted. Okay. Ooh. They can still make finals top 8. Yeah, they can. They can still make finals top 8. What I'm saying is if Mako win that, they're going to have 3 teams that are vying for those top 8 spots because they also lost to Bance. I think they lost to Bance as well. I've got to double check. I think they did lose to Bance. So they're in quite a quandary because Bance is in that 7th spot as well. Let me just check. I think they beat Bance actually. Let me just see. So you can actually see it when I get to... Where are you, Bance? Trying to find if they lost to Bance or not, because I got the cross table as well. If I can find the cross table. Nope, there's no cross table. Rip. Oh no, there he is. So did they? Who did Bance beat them? Because I know they've played each other. Yeah, and they've lost to Bance. They've lost to Over. And I've got to say now, given how good Mako's been in form, it's going to be a tough match against Mako. Very, very tough match against Mako. Because Mako have been in incredible form as of late. Like, dude, they've had I know it can run out eventually, but Mako have won 4 out of the last 5 games. And some of these games have been against, pretty good opposition. Opposition way above their pegging as well. Like taking down Overt, for example. Like, I'll actually show you guys some of the Mako games as well. Like, Mako beating the Shark Fin here. Like, they've lost to Order. They lost to Rooster, Ground Zero, Cheese, kind of expected. They lost to Skyfire. Then they take the 419 pretty easy. They took down Incept very convincingly, and they took down Overt and they took down Control. And they've been on this a crazy streak at the moment. And given that Overt took down Paradox, I have a feeling that basically Mako, who are on an insane streak of wins at the moment, may be able to take down Paradox. But that's gonna be a big point for Paradox is being able to win that game against Mako. So, if they do tie up with Bance, Mako, and Overt potentially as well, is that their round differential is going to matter. And they don't want to... Of course, they want to probably revert that, given they don't want a 16-0 on their figure, because their round differential is -7. And if that forfeit goes through, it'll be a negative 23, okay? And Overt, I think Bance's got +29, Mako's got +4, and Overt's got +3, okay? And you don't want to be, you don't want to be in that little, you don't want to be in that pocket. Hey, you get the tie breaks all right, but your round differential is absolute shit, and you're going to get knocked out because of your round differential. Just in case you guys are wondering, it goes head-to-head first, and that's why, Paradox are in a bit of a pickle, because they don't have these tie breaks they really need against Mako, against Bance, against Overt. Because otherwise what's going to happen is if they tie with Overt, Bance, and Mako, and they lost to all those teams, Paradox will immediately be bottom of the pack, because they've, the head-to-head tie break works against them. And that's a good thing that Paradox got it reversed, because they desperately needed that, because, it's pretty tough from a outside perspective to make it, because Paradox do still have a few teams that they've got to take on as well. Like, for example, if we look at here, where's Paradox? There we go. Paradox still got to play Ground Zero, still got to play Chiefs, can't play themselves, obviously. They've got two big games they've got to play. They can probably, if they do have a great game like they did against Avant in the BO3s, they could probably take one of these games. They'll probably beat Justice, I reckon. I think they're good enough to beat Justice. They should be able to take down the 419 pretty easily. Incept they should take down without any real do. Mako will be a tough game, and Forbidden they'll take down pretty easily as well. And let's see if any other games as well. And they've got a few games that they'll win easily. It's just going to be one of the games they have to beat Mako. They're going to have to win either Chiefs or Ground Zero, and we'll see where they end up. They can make top 8. I was going to say now, top 8 is still open. Top 8 is still open, but it's a realistic chance of it as well. You don't want to be a mathematical chance of getting in, because you'll need a fucking miracle to get in. That sort of thing, Perlio. That's what I'm talking about. You can go, okay, they can get in, but it's a 3% chance because of all the tie breaks that work against them. And that's why they need to get the extra tie break against Mako, and then hope Mako's on the same amount of wins. But we'll see what happens, we'll see what happens. And, anything's possible. Basically Paradox could win every single game. They take down Ground Zero and Chiefs, and they're in, basically. If they win all their games, they're in. I'm going to say that now. It's most likely not that they're going to be in if they win all their games from now on. But yeah. You never want to be that mathematical chance, but then again, I've seen that shit happen, okay? So, if you want to know, I think it was season 31, when Japolino needed this. They needed a certain team to be in their tiebreak. They needed to beat Forze, and I'm trying to think of it. No, it was Game of Legion, but Game of Legion didn't get this. Like this is why I'm saying this, because Game of Legion lost against a lot of these teams that were below that were around that rank. Like they had a head-to-head tiebreak loss against every team above them other than Virtus Pro. Okay, and what happened was that Game of Legion, to get out of relegation and be in the safe zone, had to have Virtus Pro win, had to have certain teams lose, and other teams lose by round differential higher than, I think it was 8, and Game of Legion had to win. Okay, so Game of Legion won, but they were eliminated by the fact because Virtus Pro didn't win, and that the round differential went against them. So you don't want to rely on that. You don't rely on the fact that if you win, you're in, kind of thing. You want this simple solution. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for Chill Time with Jose for today. I'm going to take a quick